All right. So, most important things, you need to read the problem. You're going to draw a picture. Drawing a picture always helps. And as always, identify your A, B, and C. Okay? Remember, C is always going to be which side? The biggest side, the longest side, the biggest number. And it's also called the what? There you go. So, number one, we have a TV. So guess what I'm going to do? Draw my TV. There's my TV. I'm just going to draw some little antennas on it. There. Okay. There's my TV. It says the width of the TV is 45 inches and the height is 30. So 45, 30. What is the length of the diagonal? Diagonal is a slanted line, right? So I'm going to draw a diagonal line going through the TV. And notice we now have what type of triangle? A right triangle. So 30 and 45 are going to be considered my what? What sides? A and B. So that tells me that we're looking for what side? C. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. A is 30, 30 squared. B is 45. And C is what we don't know. So put 30 squared plus 45 squared in your calculator. Whoa, hold on. 2,925. Now remember, we're looking for side C. So what else do we need to do? Square root. If you're looking for the side, you need to square root. Side, square root. So the square root of 2925. So this is a what? 54-inch television. Fun fact, that's where the inches come from the length of the diagonal. Okay? You got a 55-inch television, that's how long the diagonal is. All right, number 2. We have a 12-foot ladder leaning against a wall. So what am I going to draw? A wall and a ladder. So I'm going to put, this is my ladder. This is my wall. Now my ladder is 12 foot. And it says, if the base of the ladder is 4 feet away from the wall, base 4 feet. Okay. How high up the wall did the ladder reach? So which one is side C? The ladder. There's my corner. The ladder is leaning up on the wall, so side C. Since this is base, I'm going to go ahead and make that side B and A. We don't know what A is, so we're going to write A squared. B is 4 squared, and C is, all right. Now, we're missing one of the sides, not the hypotenuse, so how do I move 4 squared over? So A squared, what is 12 squared minus 4 squared? But since we're looking for how tall the wall is, what that side is, what do we need to do? Square root. So A is what? Questions so far? All right. Most important thing, draw it right. Number 3, we have an isosceles triangle. What do we know about isosceles triangles? Anybody remember? Isosceles, 2 equal sides. Very good. Think of your pair of eyes, right? 2 equal sides. That side is equal to that side, right? Anyway, both of those sides have congruent lengths of 12 centimeters. Okay, the base, the bottom, everything is 10 centimeters. What is the height of the triangle? The height is from the middle to the tip. So if you pay close attention, your right triangle is inside the isosceles triangle. So what would be helpful is if you take this triangle and draw it. Draw just the right triangle outside. Okay? So which one would be my side C? The 12. Now, be careful. The whole base is 10. So what is the base of the right triangle? 5, because it's split in half. So we're looking for A again. That looks like a Z. Hold on. What do we do with the 5 squared? So A squared is equal to? And then what do you do at the end? Square root it. You get? Okay. The next one. You have a picture provided. It says Karen drove from her house. She went to HEB, then to Paula's house. But how much shorter, if you're trying to find the shorter way to go home, you're taking a shortcut. So you go straight from where you end up at Paula back to Karen's, creating a diagonal, right? So if we're looking for the shorter way, what side are we looking for? Side C. A squared, B squared equals C squared. A, B. 3.7 squared plus 2.1 squared. What do you get when you add 3.7 squared plus 2.1 squared? 18.1. Good. But don't forget you still need to square root it. So how long is the short way? 4.2? Okay. So this is 4.2, but we haven't answered the question, right? It says how much shorter would it have been if she had taken this road versus these two? So how do we figure that out? Subtract. First, we figure out how long the long way is. The long way is the blue side. So how do you figure out how much those are? What do you do to those two distances? Add them up. So add up 3.7 plus 2.1. 5.8. And then the short way was 4.2. So going the short way, she saved how many miles? 1.6 miles. So that one has a little bit extra work, okay? Flip it over. Oliver's going on a run. I'll help you once we're done, okay? Oliver's going on a run. But it says a mile, 1 mile is equal 6 minutes. So that's something that you need to keep in mind for whenever you get to the very end of the problem. It says he left his house and he ran north. Does everybody know their directions? Okay. So you have 4 directions, right? North, south, usually your easiest ones, right? Now think of east and west are usually the ones that every student mixes up or messes up on. Picture in your mind a map of Texas, right? We live in East Texas, correct? Do we live on the left or the right side of Texas? So east will always be the right. Okay? That was always the easiest way. I would remember because I know my teachers would always teach me never eat soggy waffles or never eat sour worms, right? I think that's what it is. But I would never, I didn't know if eat goes this way or this way. So anyway. So Oliver runs north. We start with Oliver right here. He runs north 2 miles. Then he goes east 3 miles. Then he goes back home. Straight back home. Okay? So we are looking for side C. We're looking for the hypotenuse again. We can do this one as A, this one as B. So 2 squared plus 3 squared. 13. Now don't forget to do what? Square root. What is the square root of 13? Okay. But that does not, that does not answer the question. 3.6 represents what? The amount of miles. Okay. So it says, what was the total time? How do we figure out the time for each one of them? If you have 1 mile is 6 minutes, what do you do with each group of miles? Not add, try multiply them by 6. Yep. So even though this is 2 miles, 2 times 6 is? So this one would be 12 minutes. Even though this is 3 miles, how much time is it going to take? 3 times 6 is 18 minutes. Then 3.6 times 6. 21.6 minutes. So now to find the total time, you add all of those. 12 plus 21.6 minutes. So his total run was 51.6 minutes. Questions? Okay. Number 6. Sarah is running around a square field. The area of that square field. So area, is that the inside or the outside? Inside. The inside of the square. Okay. We have a square. The area is 22,500. All right. She wants to run through the field diagonally. She wants to cut across on her last lap. What is the length of the diagonal? Well, if you look at that, the way you do that, right? You have a right triangle inside. Sorry, Mr. Duke texted me, so kind of got distracted. You have a right triangle, correct? But what do I need? I need to figure out the sides. How do I figure out the sides when I start with the area? How do you find the side? Side. What do you do to find the side? Square root. Very good. So we square root 22,500. What do you get? 150. So that means each side is 150. 150, 150. So now that we know the sides, we can figure out the diagonal. The diagonal is side what? C. Okay. Okay. What is 150 squared plus 150 squared? 45,000. Yeah, 45,000. And don't forget to. So the square root of 45,000 to 12.1. That's ugly. Okay. Ready? Okay. Number 7. Number 7 is probably going to be the most difficult one on the assignment just because it's a mixture of a bunch of stuff of all of the lessons that we've done so far. Okay. It says the area of square root 2 is 169. So if it's area, do I write that on the inside or the outside? Inside. So how do I find the side if the area is 169? Oops. Square root. So square root the 169. Oh, sorry, it says square 2, sorry. 169, 13. So each side is 13. The perimeter of square 1 is 340. What do we know about perimeter? Okay, now how many sides does the square have?
4.
So how do I find what one side is? Divided by 4. So 340 divided by 4. So each side of the first square of square 1 is 85. 85, 85. So if I know what the sides are, how do I find the area? What do I do? Multiply them, side times side. So 85 times 85 is? 7225. All right. Think we got enough stuff to figure out what we need. Now it says, what is the area of square 3? So if they want the area of square 3, area is the number that is squared. Yeah, inside. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Remember, the biggest box is always C, smallest is A, so we're looking for B. Now you can either plug in the sides, or you can plug in the areas. Which one do you want to do? The sides? It's easier for the sides? Yeah. Okay, so A is what, 13 squared? And then C squared is 85 squared. So what do we do with 13 squared? And you get? And since it still has that little 2, 7,056 is the area. It's still in area mode, right? We don't have to square root it. The only reason we would square root is if we're looking for the side. Last one. Joanna is building a farmhouse style barn door. Now you have the picture there. She's placing 2 wooden boards in an X position on the door. How many feet of material will she need for the X? Well, the first thing we know is that one of the pieces of that X is a what? What type of line? Diagonal. So we need to find that first, and the diagonal will be side what? A, B, or C? C. Here's my corner. So this is side C, okay? So plug in, I'm going to use B for base and A here. So 108. My base is 48. What do you get when you add 108 squared and 48 squared? Then take the square root. Now think about this. Does that answer the question? Why not? She wants to put boards in the form of an X, right? Now, we have figured out what This board is, but do we need one board to form an X? How many boards do we need to form an X? So how do I figure out how many 2 would be? Multiply it by 2. What'd you get? 0.2? I got 0.4, but that's close enough. Did I do it wrong?
No, it's 236.2.
Okay.